Traveling for work can be pretty stressful, right? Especially when you're trying to find just the right words in English. Well, in this explainer, we're going to give you the essential vocabulary you need to handle your next business trip with total confidence, from the planning stage all the way to that final handshake. So, what we're going to do is take a virtual business trip together, okay? We'll go step by step. We're going to start with the planning, then we'll move on to what happens when you arrive at your hotel, and we'll finish up by mastering that all important meeting. By the end, you are going to have all the key phrases you need to absolutely nail it. Do you know, a really successful trip, it doesn't just start at the airport. Nope. It starts with a super clear plan. So, our first stop is mastering the language you need before you even think about packing your bags. Okay, first up, let's talk about purpose. This is the big one. It's your fundamental reason for the trip. It's the why. So imagine an immigration officer asks you, what is the purpose of your visit? A perfect, clear answer is, the purpose of my visit is to meet our partners. Simple as that. Okay, so that's purpose. Now a goal, that's a whole different thing. A goal is the specific, measurable result you want to get. So while your purpose is to meet partners, your goal might be something like, our goal is to increase sales by 20%. See how specific that is? It's concrete. You either hit that number or you don't. And the last piece of this little puzzle is aim. Think of your aim as your intention, what you're trying to do. It's usually a bit broader, a bit less specific than a goal. For instance, you could say, we aim to build a strong relationship with our partners. It's more about the general direction you're headed. All right, let's pull all that together and see it in action. On the very same trip, your purpose is the reason you're going, your goal is the specific result you need to get, like signing an agreement, and your aim is that broader intention, like building a good relationship. They all work together, they just have a slightly different focus. All right, planning phase, done. Now for the fun part. You've landed at your destination. It's time to navigate the real world. And I've got the vocabulary you're going to need the second your feet hit the ground. Just imagine you've just stepped off the plane. What happens next? Well, hopefully your driver will be there to pick you up. If you have to catch another flight inside the same country, that's called a domestic flight. When you finally get to your hotel, the first thing you have to do is check in. And let's hope you booked a round-trip ticket to get back home. Now, when you get to that hotel reception desk, these phrases are going to be your best friend. Seriously, having these ready to go will make you feel so much more in control. They're simple, they're direct, and they get the job done. Okay, you're all checked in, you've dropped your bags. Now it's time for the real reason you're here, the meeting. Let's make sure you sound totally professional and precise when it counts the most. Okay, this one can be a little tricky, but it's super important for sounding professional. You use field for your specific profession, like the field of finance. Sphere is really formal. You'd use it when talking about influence or power. But here's the most important tip. When in doubt, just use area. It's almost always the perfect, natural-sounding choice. Marketing is my area of expertise. Sounds great every time. Want to sound like you really mean business? Let's look at 3 little phrases that pack a big punch. A meeting isn't just at 10, it's scheduled for 10. At the end of a big project, you don't just finish, you hold a wrap-up meeting. And you don't just decide what's next, you agree on the way forward. Using language like this, it really shows you're in charge. Okay, time for a little polish. We're not going to talk about common mistakes. No, let's call these pro tips, because using them will instantly make you sound more fluent and feel way more confident. This one is such an easy fix and it makes a huge difference. With phrasal verbs like pick up, when you use a pronoun like me or you, it has to go right in the middle. So it's never pick up you, it is always pick you up. That one tiny change makes you sound so much more natural. All right, let's do a quick lightning round. Wrong way versus right way. Ready? Selling 100 units. That's a specific result, so it's a goal, not a purpose. Asking about someone's job. Use field, not that super formal word sphere. And for the last one, you don't do sightseeing, you always go sightseeing. See? Easy fixes. So let's just boil it all down, right? What are the absolute must-remembers from all this? First, purpose is your why. Goal is your specific what result. Next, use field for your job. Remember that pronoun goes smack in the middle, pick you up. And you always go sightseeing. If you can remember just those 4 things, you are going to be in fantastic shape. All right, so before we go, I've got a question for you. After everything we've just talked about, what is the main measurable goal for your next business trip? Because being able to define that clearly in English, well, that's the very first step to actually achieving it. Travel safe out there.